You get people like our appalling Prime Minister admiring the CCP, for example, for its ability to move forward on the environmental front without, paying attention to such niceties as, let's say, Parliament and public opinion. And that's that delusion of fascist efficiency. And the thing about United Systems is they can move very, very quickly when they need to, and that's well and good if they're moving in the right direction. But the right direction is hard to determine, and if they're moving in the wrong direction, then God help us all. And this collusion between the social media companies and the security apparatus and the broader media world, which is still occurring because they won't cover the Twitter files, is fascist in the highest order. And it's definitely a threat to the integrity of, well, I would say proper governance worldwide, but certainly proper governance within the United States. It's appalling beyond belief. I think part of the reason the public hasn't woken up to it, this is certainly true in Canada. Canadians would rather believe, for example, that the trucker convoy was run by MAGA-inspired American Republicans who wanted to destabilize Canadian democracy, which is what our bloody Prime Minister told them. They would actually—
Jordan, they had bouncy houses. They had bouncy houses for kids. I mean, they had like Sikh music, and I mean, it was like—
Well, there's a huge coterie of Sikh truckers in Canada. Yeah, well, Canadians would rather believe that, though, that this was a conspiratorial enterprise motivated really by and funded by MAGA Americans. This is the Canadian narrative. Most Canadians still believe that, 51%. And the reason they still believe that is because it's easier to believe that than it is to believe that you can't, that your leaders, Chrystia Freeland, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, are compromised entirely by their globalist utopian agenda and lying about absolutely everything, and that you can't trust the legacy media anymore. And Canadians just, they're not capable of swallowing that bitter pill. And like, I can understand why, in our country and in yours too, to a large degree, the fundamental institutions have been reasonably trustworthy for a long time. And then to understand that, no, you have to now go out, you have to go and ferret out the truth, and that there are conspiracy-like actions proceeding on all sorts of domains. It's like, well, it's no wonder people can't go there with ease.
Yeah, I don't want to believe it either.
Well, right.
Until I see it, I'm gonna assume the best of people. But when you see the federal government acting in this way, in direct violation of fundamental commitments to civil rights, like free speech, and the way that they convey it, it's as if it's so obvious that they're doing the right thing. Oh yeah, we just suppressed this because we didn't want people to be harmed by this bad information. Well, how do you know this information is bad?
Well, this is the question. Like, I now virtually instantly distrust anyone who uses the word misinformation or the word disinformation. It's like, I see you think there's some gold standard by which factual information can be revealed, that its validity can be revealed. That's just self-evident. You can set up some fact-finding committee that can just differentiate between the true facts and the false facts. It's like, why do we need the scientific enterprise then if it's so bloody obvious? And why is there political discussion? Well, no, there's misinformation, and we need committees to deal with it and to suppress it, which they certainly did at Twitter.
Jordan, it's a new dark age. Right, that was the feature of the old dark age, was that there was a high clerisy that could just unerringly distinguish truth from falsity, and suppress falsities for the benefit of the public at large. Right, that is the age we are currently living in.
What, running itself under the guise of a kind of rampant secularism? It's really something to see, and it's so interesting. Maybe we could touch on this in a minute. I knew 10 years ago that the woke types in the universities would go after the STEM fields. And everyone thought at that point that I was being conspiratorial and paranoid. And I thought, no, I know how scientists work. Most of them are obsessively focused on their narrow specialization. That's not an insult. That's their job. That's their job, is to be 80 hours a week focused on that specific issue, to understand it deeply and communicate that to the rest of us. More power to them. But it means that they don't have a political bone in their body. especially the real scientists, especially in STEM. And so when the woke political mob of narcissists comes for them, they won't have a hope of resisting. And, well, obviously that's exactly what's happening. In the California system now, UCal system, 80% of applicants to STEM positions are rejected on the basis of inadequate diversity, inclusivity, and equity statements. You see that Texas yesterday, University of Texas, revoked its commitment to requiring DIE statements as a precondition for employment. And then, of course, denied that they ever had such a policy in place to begin with.